Hi everyone. So I recently shared some pictures of my do-it-yourself teacup bird feeders that you hang up in trees. And I got a lot of questions and comments on how do you do this? What's the recipe? So I figured I'd make a short video on how to make these things. I really like to repurpose things in life and give them a second chance. So I noticed that I was accumulating a lot of teacups in my house, especially teacups from grandparents like this one. They're really pretty. You don't really use them. You don't know what to do with them, but they have this sentimental value. Or these that I find really pretty. They're from England. I don't even use them, but it's from England, so you can't throw out a teacup from England. So I figured I'd make some bird feeders, make them useful and practical. So I got creative. This is a great activity you could do with your kids during March break. It's good for all ages. I did it with my toddler who's 3.5 years old, and I also really enjoyed it too. And it's important during March break to bring your kids to do some hands-on activities, get them making, get them doing with their hands, and get their creativity flowing. So one way of doing that is going outdoors. Outdoor education is really popular these days too. It's the best kind of education. Go outdoors and play. So without further ado, I will present the do-it-yourself teacup bird feeder. So first of all, I will switch to my document camera, so you'll see what I'm doing. Document cameras are amazing when you teach online. All right, so first of all, let's look at the materials. As I was saying, I repurpose vintage or grandparents' teacups. Here's another one. I really like the saucer look of it. So like the one I showed you in the intro, I have the saucer, I have my teacup. And what I did was I glued it with some Gorilla Glue, which sticks really well on porcelain. So I would put the teacup on the saucer, put my Gorilla Glue, fix it there. And a little trick, make sure that the handle is facing upwards so that when you tie it to the tree, the direction works. So this is one teacup. I also have a family member who recently gave me some cups that she wasn't using. So everyone has teacups lying around their house, or you can go on Facebook and ask families and friends for them. So that's for the cup. To tie it to the tree, I really like recycling material. And you have this material lying around your house, some rope. I like knitting, so I have a lot of yarn lying around. You never know what to do with those loose ends. You could take a shoelace, an old ribbon. You could take some wire, so anything that could hook the handle of the teacup to the branch. Next up, you need a branch. Pretty straightforward. Here's another little trick that I discovered through experimenting. So when you cut your branch, at first I was cutting them straight like this and just putting them in the bird mix in the cup. However, I realized that it would hold a lot better when I used a branch that branches out. So what I would do is I would cut it like this, like a T. So instead of using just a straight one in my cup, I would use one that branches out or forks out like a T. That way, when I put it in my cup, it'll hold a lot better and it'll be more sturdy in the bird mix. Next up, we need our ingredients. So let's get cooking for birds. There are two options here for your bird feeders. The easiest one is to go to the store. The first time I did it, this is what I did. So it's quick, it's simple. You buy a suet cake for birds. You could buy them at the dollar store or at Canac. It's about 50 cents to $1.50. You put it in the microwave for about a minute and your mix is ready. Suet cakes are essentially half fat and half bird seeds. You could also make them more fancy, add some peanut butter, some oats, some dried fruits. However, if you want to keep it simple, suet cakes for birds are fat and seeds. So this was my first option, the quick and easy way. Otherwise, you can make your own suet cake and go on Google. There are tons of recipes, but I'll show you the basics of the ingredients. So I really enjoy making these because they are made out of bacon fat. So you could make a brunch with your kids, keep the bacon fat, and then do this activity right after. Or if you're making a bigger quantity, you could use some fat that you buy at the store. So either way, both work. if you prefer, you could also use some Crisco. Apparently this works too. I've never tried it, but a lot of the recipes call for some Crisco. Next up, I bought some bird seeds for wild birds. This is with a mix. I got a huge bag, about 5 kilos at Canac for $3.50. So it's really not that expensive. Like I was saying, if you want to make your recipe really fancy, you could add stuff like some oats. You could also add some peanut butter. Yes, I buy my peanut butter at Costco. And you could also add some dried fruits if you prefer. So for the purpose of today, I'm going to use the ready-made suet cake. So I have my teacup. I'm going to choose this one. I have my suet cake that I put in the microwave for about 1 minute. And I'm just going to scoop it in there. While you're doing this, you could put some music on too, make it fun. I don't really bring it to the edge, but I do put a lot in there so that it's easy to reach for the birds. There we go. Next up, I take my branch. And here's another tip or trick that I learned the hard way. You have to be careful of direction. So you can't put your branch anywhere, because when it's going to be hanging up in the tree, it's going to be hanging with the handle. So your branch has to sit on the opposite side of the handle like that. So here's my handle. I'm going to put my branch on the opposite side. And since the branch really forked out nicely, it holds well in the mix. Turn it this way. You could let it sit on the counter, or you could put it in the fridge. And what you do is you put something beside it so that it holds well. Could be like that. Or what you could do is, where is my wire? You could also take some wire or a wire hanger, and then you coil it around your branch to make it hold like that in your teacup. Then you put it in the fridge. So it's really straightforward and simple, pretty easy to make. Once it's ready, it looks like this. I really like the saucer look because in the summer I could reuse the same model and just put some dry bird seeds so they won't fall to the ground. They'll be scooped up with the saucer. I think that's about it. Remember, kids really love to share. Let me just put my camera back. Kids really love to share. So if you do this activity, I would love to see some pictures. If you want to add them to the comments, please let me know what you did, and I would love to see your creations. Enjoy the March break and enjoy making these bird feeders. Bon appétit.